A kind of a comment and a question.
Lovely.
The thought was that that dialogue is not enough, but what actions can we take? And should that action come from the bottom up rather than from the top down, from the hierarchy?
Right. Great. Well, Cardinal Fitzgerald, I can't see you're someplace, and Sheikh Shomali.
Yeah.
Could maybe, is it possible, Ahmed, to put our two speakers, maybe we'll go to speaker view? Yeah, there we are. There we are. So, Sheikh Shomali, Cardinal Fitzgerald, how would you answer that question?
Yes. Cardinal, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Sheikh Shomali.
Yeah. I think the first step is awareness, education. And I think we need to take every opportunity to emphasize on the message of unity. And although it is not enough to just talk and teach, but certainly this is the root and this is the foundation. And if people, lay people, religious cleric, all people come to this understanding that a very important part and great part of our relation with God is the way we relate to each other, to people of our faith or people of other faith. If we come to this common understanding, or at least a great majority of our faith communities come to this understanding, then automatically this would be exhibited and it would be expressed in whatever they do. This is one point. The second point is that I think it's like light. When there is a source of light, light would not say, I go only from this opening out or from this window out. Any chance that is given to light, light would want to spread. So if you can talk to the leaders, talk to the leaders. If you can talk to the lay people, whatever you can do, to politicians. What is important is that the message of unity has to spread. Number 3, we need some solid and concrete examples of unity. So when people in some localities or, for example, some institutions, when they can build a working model of unity, undertake some projects together, or meeting each other, being really like one family, I think these concrete examples will give direction, will give hope, and God, I am sure, will guide us further. If we exhaust whatever we understand and whatever energy we have in the path of unity, I am sure God will take us further. You may not know all the 100 steps that you have to take, but if you know one step, take that step, and then you will see what's the next step. And I am very hopeful. I am very much thinking that people of our age are more and more coming to this recognition that there is one universal humanity, and we have the same challenges and the same opportunities. We have to work together. I think many religious people are coming to this, many religious leaders are coming to this conclusion. I am very hopeful, and I think our future would be much better than before, although there is no quick fix, but I am very hopeful. So my humble request is, whatever you can do in your capacity as a teacher, as a doctor, as an engineer, as whatever, as an artist, as a cleric, whatever capacity you have, be a voice of unity and give people hope that in unity we can better be off.
Thank you, Sheikh Shomali. That kind of links, Cardinal Fitzgerald, just before you say something, with the next question. Carol, if I could just maybe read out your question. You wanted to ask something about a practical example of cooperation. There are quite a few questions about that, about what can we do practically, which relates really to Group 9's question. Cardinal Fitzgerald, what do you think? Yes, of course, please, yes.
I don't think that we can tell groups what they have to do. They have to find it themselves. They have to discuss together and find their own thing to do. I'll tell you a story of something that I saw. This was some years ago in the United States, visiting a mosque for the Friday prayer. A group of us were there, invited. And while waiting for the Friday prayer, I looked at the notice board and I saw a notice, a joint picnic between the Muslim group and the Jewish group. That intrigued me. How come that they're having a joint picnic? So I asked the administrator the question at the end. And he said, yes, well, when he took over, they had an open day. And the people of the mosque, he had just been hired as the administrator of the mosque. And the people of the committee were very suspicious. They thought he wanted to sell the mosque. And he said, no, we want our neighbors to know us. And so we invite them in. And one of those who accepted this invitation was the local rabbi. And the local rabbi, after his visit, and had looked around the Islamic Center and seen the different rooms, and he said, could I speak with the manager, please? And he asked the manager, and he said, our synagogue is being refurbished. Would it be possible for our community to come and pray at the Islamic Center? So the administrator was a bit surprised at that, and he said, I'll have to ask my committee. Well, he did ask the committee, and they allowed the Jews to come and pray. And so they formed a friendship, and that friendship was continuing through the picnic. So I think why I tell that is that there was the courage of the rabbi to ask the question, there was the courage of the Islamic group to accept, and that helped people to come together. I think that is, so we have to be ready to risk. Pope Francis is always saying that interreligious dialogue is a risk. We have to be ready to risk. But then the other thing I said in the breakout room was action is good, but it's not enough. We have to reflect on that action together. And how did we feel? Who was responsible? Were we happy with that responsibility? You know, sometimes you say, I've heard really Catholic sisters saying, oh, we have a great dialogue with Muslims. Our driver is a Muslim. Yeah, but he's employed by you. That's not a dialogue. So if you are dominating everything, that's not a dialogue either. In the action, you have to decide together. You have to be responsible together. So all that needs to be evaluated, and the experience has to be articulated, I would say. So you go from action to discussion, discussion to action, and so on. And prayer as well.
Well, yes, yeah. Thank you. Sister Maria, I think you have a question, do you? It might be kind of similar, but... Maria, are you there?
Sorry, yes, I'm here. We had very good discussion in the group, but we were talking about how we have dialogued so much, and what would be the next step forward, and what would push us to do and go on with the next step, to talk about things that maybe are in conflict or things that are different, and helping each other to understand those things so that we move forward beyond just dialogue. I'm not saying dialogue's not important, it is, but to do that in mutual love.
Beyond caring and sharing. It's easy, isn't it, to have a dialogue about things that...
Yeah, that's right.
So, Cardinal Fitzgerald, do you want to kind of answer that first, and then Sheikh Shomali?
Well, there
Thank
are
you.
different things that we can do. For instance, people have been saying that Ramadan is coming up next month. Huh? It starts, I think, the 13th of April, I think, probably.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly. Wait and see. But there was a movement in the Philippines, Duyog Ramadan, accompanying Ramadan, where Christians are not observing Ramadan, but they're accompanying their brothers and sisters who are practicing Ramadan, observing Ramadan. How can we do that in our parishes? Can we use this time of Ramadan to learn more about our Muslim brothers and sisters? And can they help us in that? We tried in our parish this last year, but it was confined because we couldn't meet. We were socially distant, but that socially distant doesn't mean to say that you are heartfelt distant. You must come together some way.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, Sheikh Shomali, I'm sure you've got something to say about that, but because time's running out, could I take the next question?
Sure, sure.
And if you would respond to that. So that's from Duncan's group. Syed Imran, are you going to ask that question? Syed?
Yes, thank you, Isabel. The question I had was about the fact that we have been part of this dialogue.
Syed, it's quite hard to hear you. Can you come a wee bit closer maybe to your microphone?
Is that any better? Is that any better, Isabel?
Can you hear? Cardinal Fitzgerald, can
Yes.
you hear? Sheikh Shomali, yes, we're okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. I mean, the question is that, we have been listening to dialogues, we've been part of the dialogues between Muslims and Christians. I think we as local clerics in our community are now looking for the next step onwards, how to bring it down to the grassroots, because it's all very good that we talk about unity and togetherness and doing things, but how would you bring it down to the grassroots so that the general public is actually involved in this unity, is taking part, and as actually we show something for the unity that we talk about. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Either if you want to make a response or
Well, there are different things. Facilitate reciprocal visits. Take a group of Christians to the mosque. Take a group of Muslims to the church. Explain the building. Explain how it helps in worship. Explain various things. And then go back and discuss this. That's one thing. I mean, that's not doing anything together, but it is learning about one another. As I said before, I think you have to discover what you can do. But there's cooking together, eating the food, and then discussing the food. Different recipes. Looking at education. What do you learn about Christians in the mosque? What do you learn about Muslims in the school? And if you're not satisfied, tell the teacher. There are things that can be done. You have to find them.
And if I may add, in addition to what Cardinal mentioned, among people also that you come to know from people of other faith, then maybe you can choose some people that you feel closer to them and meet regularly, few of you, and discuss the current issues that concern you. For example, about education, parenting, etc. What is happening in the world, pandemic, whatever, in an atmosphere of brotherhood, sisterhood, with prayer. And I am sure when we get together and discuss with honesty something and we pray, God will give us more understanding, better, clearer picture. So this is very important. I think one of the best things we can do together is to pray together to God and ask for understanding. Part of listening to God for every faithful person must be trying to see how God can speak to you through a faithful from another tradition. We should not think other people are misguided and they have nothing, to share with us. God many times may speak to us through the faithful of another tradition. So the result of centuries of spirituality, of practice, is a treasure of wisdom that every tradition has, and a faithful person, knowingly or unknowingly, is a way for you to connect to a treasure. So praying together, discussing, listening to each other, I think is one of the best things we can do.
Thank you. Now, we actually have a couple of suggestions on the chat, which we'll see. Someone has put down that the Christian Muslim Forum has a twinning program between churches and mosques. Now, I mean, that's always a good thing to do. What would be good is to have young people from church Sunday schools and madrasas exchanging visits. Yes. And I think we all know we need to do more with our young people. Then someone has put down about Eco-Congregation Scotland. Could Muslims be invited to join us, because that's mainly a Christian group, so that there could be joint action on the environment. So actually there's plenty of suggestions there. Also, somebody has said, and we know this is true because probably we've all experienced it, that during Ramadan there's often an invitation to break the fast, to have an iftar event at the end of the day, which is good. I know that this year and last year it's probably been virtual, but normally it's been physical. And then there is something else, but I think we need to leave it. And it really is about how far can we get involved together in international problems and events, and really to get engaged a bit politically. But I think that takes a whole new discussion, and it's nearly past, so we really do need to draw it to a conclusion. But it is something that I think is important to think about, and it's something we could take forward. Cardinal Fitzgerald.
One thing is that we haven't talked so much about scriptures, but there is what is called scriptural reasoning. That is, reading the scriptures together, not discussing them, but reading them together and reacting. Because we know something about, the Muslims know something about Christianity, but they don't necessarily know our scriptures, and we don't necessarily know the Quran. So to hear passages and to share, that's one way of sharing.
Thank you. Now, I think I am going to draw it to a close because it is nearly past, and I want to thank particularly Cardinal Fitzgerald and Sheikh Shomali for your time, for your inspiration, for your wisdom, for the kind of vision that you gave us of unity, and also in responding to our questions to give us practical ideas about how to move forward. And we will move forward, and the little planning group will be meeting, and there's 4 Christians and 4 Muslims, so we're quite well balanced, to consider where we are going to go in the future and how we are going to develop this. Thank you to all the facilitators. Thank you to Ahmed, who has done his best to organise us and to get us organised. But could we end just with a prayer? It's a very short prayer. We have talked about praying, and the Pope and the Sheikh Al-Ansar talks about prayer in his in the Human Fraternity document. So just to bring us to a conclusion, really, this is a I've no idea where I got it from, but I think it's appropriate. O God, from whom on different paths all of us have come, to whom on different paths all of us are going, make strong in our hearts that which unites us. Build bridges across all that divides us. United, make us rejoice in our diversity, at one in our witness to that peace which you, O God, alone can give.
Amen.
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 So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch, no doubt. So
Bye.
good night
Dr.
and
Ali.
God bless.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.